Nothing on that. Okay, here we go. It begins in 3, 2, 1.
Presenting a new exciting radio program featuring the thrilling adventures of
Comic Dorks.
Thrilling adventure, intense excitement, pounding action, and spine-tingling mystery.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Comic Dorks. Comic Dorks episode 17 for February 20th, 2014. My name is Scott Johnson, joined tonight by Scott Kurtz. Hello, Scott.
Hello.
Mark Spagnolo, right over there.
How you doing?
Good, man. Ooh, bringing back the New York Italian thing. I like it.
Gotta do it.
Also, Steven Schleicher, of course. Hey, man.
Hey.
How you doing?
Good.
You all right?
Yeah.
All right, good. You sound fantastic.
Thank you.
Another episode of Comic Dorks where we break down comic news, comic books, and what's going on in the world of pop culture. May as well jump straight in with this.
The stolen plans of the vibrator were destroyed, along with the only two criminals who knew how to operate it.
The big news of the week, as far as I'm concerned, was the release of the Guardians of the Galaxy trailer for the film that Marvel is producing and is just about done with. I don't know what the release date is. Steven, you know when this is out?
Oh, yes, I do, but I don't have it in front of me.
August 1st. It's
Thank
my
you.
wife's birthday.
All
That's
right.
the
There
only
you
reason
go.
I know.
Oh, awesome. That'd be a great little gift for both of you, I hope. Yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy. You got your Chris Pratt. You got your everybody else in there. And I didn't know what to expect because my experience, I've said it on the show before, is a little bit limited with the Guardians of the Galaxy
same here.
background and lore. So
Everybody's is.
and we'll talk, and when we're talking about what we've been reading, I'm trying to rectify that a little bit. But because of that, you know, a lot of people are like, oh, the trailer's perfect, it's the right tone. And other people are like, no, they'll never do it justice. And because I don't have kind of a point of reference for this, I don't really know what to expect, but I liked what I saw.
It's a big space adventure.
Yeah. But I mean, I guess let me ask you this. The tone of the sort of the humor that's in that trailer, and trailers are trailers, whatever, right? Like it can be completely misrepresenting the film. Who knows until you get to actually see the thing. But it feels like the best bits of Mystery Men, the best bits of The Hitchhiker's Guide, the film adaptation, which I liked more than other people did, but it's that if they can nail it, it's that kind of knowing, what's the word? You're in a really weird place and you're in a weird kind of universe with a lot of weird creatures and a lot of weird stuff going on. But there's a lot of stuff that's very referential. Star-Lord has definitely got his feet firmly planted in sort of Earth origin, and he's kind of a goofball and is a little Han Solo and this kind of stuff. And so we see the world through his eyes, and we're cool with that. What was that sci-fi show that had all the Muppets in it that was kind of like that too?
Farscape.
Yeah.
Reminds me of Farscape a little bit in that way. How do we feel about it, Scott? How are you feeling about the tone, the direction, the look, all that stuff?
Well, I think that there's no point in comparing it to the comics or reading the comics ahead of time because I don't think that, short of a couple things like Jason Quill is a human from Earth and Rocket Raccoon and Groot and Gamora in it and Drax the Destroyer and stuff are in it, I don't think they're going to follow much of any of the previous Guardian books. I think they're going to kind of do their own thing in this movie. I'm sure they're going to borrow from it, but I wouldn't expect anyone that was a fan of the Conquest, Annihilation stuff that kind of led into the new Guardians book. If anyone's expecting a direct translation of that, I wouldn't hold your breath.
Well, since Mark... go ahead.
It's just the Guardians timeline and the origins of the Guardians of the Galaxy and the number of times that title's been rebooted since the 80s. Even the time, the amount of retconning, let's put it that way, is so convoluted that it would behoove the makers of that movie just to kind of do their own thing.
Just take it in whatever direction they want. So, Mark, you and I are coming into this thing kind of virginal.
Yeah.
I think we are at a distinct benefit in that way. Do you agree?
Oh, totally. That works in my favor every time I see a superhero or a comic-based movie because I don't have, I'm not steeped in the background, I'm not steeped in the history. I kind of just take it for what they are giving me. And in this case, it just looks like a fun little space movie with goofy characters, and I could take it for what it is and not compare it to anything. I think it's good. It looks fun as hell to me.
Was that Hooked on a Feeling? Was that the song at the end?
Yeah.
Hooked on a feeling. I love that stuff. See, that's...
I mean, you got this little raccoon dude shooting things, and he's a badass. it's got to be goofy as hell, but it has to, if they do it right, it could be great.
Well, those are the things that put me off ever reading the comic, because I could never get into a badass raccoon shooting things. So, right. Steven, where do you land on this?
From the look of it, and I'm not as familiar with Guardians of the Galaxy as other people are, but when I look at it visually, to me, this is like The Fifth Element smashed into Big Trouble in Little China.
That's another good example, yeah.
And if that is the case, then this is going to be an awesome movie. Looks like there's a little bit of jailbreak action going on. Mm-hmm. Looks like there's a little bit of we're forming a new group of people to help fight the bad guys, and I'm on board. I think it looks really good.
Is this a story that like people is like a beloved tale for people? Are there? So no one out there, very few people are really just like major Guardians of the Galaxy fans.
No, I think it's a fairly new title, and you get some really. There was a kind of event thing called Conquest Annihilation with the Nova Corps and the Kree, and Rocket Raccoon was a standalone comic back in the 80s, created by Bill Mantlo, and Rocket Raccoon started in the Hulk. And he was a character when the Hulk was being bounced around all these dimensions. And it was this spacefaring raccoon with rocket boots. And he had a friend that originally his name was Rocky Raccoon, who had a friend that was Walrus. Get it? The walrus.
Got it.
And they were searching for Gideon's Bible. And it was Bill Mantlo just getting all Beatles on everybody. And then when Bill Mantlo did Cloak and Dagger with Rick Leonardi, that comic, he also did a Rocket Raccoon book, which Mike Mignola drew.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of this space thing. So then in the 80s, Jim Valentino, the book he left to start Image was Guardians of the Galaxy. But at the time, it was kind of a superheroes in the future book. And the lead character's name was an astronaut named Vance Astro. I swear to God, Vance Astrovic.
Yeah.
And they had this one storyline called The Quest for the Shield, where Vance went to get Captain America's long lost shield. And so it was like superheroes in space, like in costumes and stuff. Like it looked very 90s. It was not 80s, it was 90s. So the current incarnation of Guardians of the Galaxy is some of the more spacefaring Marvel heroes like Drax and Gamora, and then they put Peter Quill in there, who was this human, he gets lost in space, and they brought in Groot, who's from some old Kirby comic, and then they brought in Rocket Raccoon and said, well, we'll call it Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
So it really is just kind of a very new thing. But the reason why I think they're doing it, the reason why, why is this a Marvel movie, is because a lot of it has to do with ownership, and what Marvel has the rights to make into movies and stuff.
Yeah.
And also because Avengers ended with this big Thanos reveal, and you can't just drop Thanos on everyone. You have to introduce it slowly. So they're doing it, right? Like the Capper post-credits scene at the end of Thor kind of connected this otherworldly stuff to the Marvel universe, movie universe, making Thor kind of a space alien, and the Asgardians kind of space aliens is connecting it. And then Guardians is going to have huge ties to Thanos.
Sure.
Gamora in the comics, the girl that Zoe Saldana is playing, the Green Girl, is the adopted, I think, daughter of Thanos. She has connections to Thanos. So don't be surprised if Guardians, which is I'm sure going to be super fun, is just going to have kind of a direct tie-in to kind of get us a little bit closer to Thanos.
So it just brings, you think it's like adhesive sort of between things. I mean, obviously they can't roll out an X-Men movie because Fox currently has the rights to do that, and they can't really roll out any kind of Spider-Man connection. So this is where they've gone. It's just a strange place to go, is all I'm.
Well, I mean, if they're building up to something like the Infinity Gauntlet series,
right,
where it's a big, massive event. I mean, you're going to have all these pieces in place in order to pull that off effectively.
So Avengers 3 is going to be Thanos.
Well, here's the question then. everybody was already amazed you could make the Avengers, right? And take all of these individual movie heroes and comic book heroes, but now in movie form, here's Thor, here's Captain America, here's Iron Man, everybody, and we're going to put them all in one movie. Holy crap, never been done before. Hollywood is on its knees, just can't believe it. Are they going to do this again, but then go, not only are all the Avengers in it, but all the Guardians of the Galaxy will be in it, and freaking Wolverine will get over there because we'll sign some temporary deal with Rupert Murdoch's people, and we're good.
No, what's going to happen is this. There's a couple things you need to know about the way Hollywood works to understand what's going on in these Marvel movies, okay? And there's a diagram that maybe I can find you a link to, but Marvel, a.k.a. Disney, owns a very specific thing in there, okay? So one of the things that is a part of the Guardians of the Galaxy universe is the Kree, okay? The Kree is a race of aliens. They don't know the Kree. They don't own the Badoon. They don't own the movie rights to it. They don't own the movie rights to mutants, meaning you can't have any superhero that was born with his powers in the Marvel universe.
We've talked about this, like S.H.I.E.L.D. refers to them as something else.
And that's why everything is so grounded and rooted in either science or technology. It's all science fiction, okay?
Yeah.
And they're going to do Doctor Strange because he's magic. So that's not someone born with his powers, right? Yeah. So why are you doing Ant-Man? Well, we need a fucking another science-based hero.
Sure.
You know, now what's really weird is that there's some characters that are kind of in between limbo due to rights. Yeah. One being Quicksilver.
Yeah.
He's going to be in both X-Men Days of Future Past and the Avengers too.
Whoa.
Because the rights are shared. Don't ask me why. I don't know how that ended up happening.
That's really weird, yeah.
I just threw up a link there for you guys to
But
check
are they is that the only example of the shared character? Because really, wow, weird.
But you're never going to see any of the X-Men. You're never going to see any of any Spider-Man characters. You're never going to see any of those in these Avengers movies. Now, there's something else you need to know about Hollywood. The way that this SAG works is that after 3 movies, you got to back up the Brinks truck. Because after a 3rd movie, if you do a 4th, the union says this actor's typecast. Downey Jr. can't ever be not Tony Stark now because he's done 4 of these Iron Man movies. You've done 3 of the Iron Man movies. So if he does Iron Man 4, you have to pay him a lot because we have to assume he's never going to get to be anything but Iron Man anymore because he's so associated with this.
Weird.
And that's why Downey Jr. is not going to sign up for more Iron Man movies because that would be Iron Man 4. But he can sign up for Avengers 2 and 3 because that's only 2 and 3 of Avengers.
Did they have fights like this with the Star Trek folks when they would do 4 movies in a row?
Well, if you notice that the 4th movie that the Next Generation crew was in, suddenly they're all fucking directing and producing. Right? So look at Nemesis. Nemesis is practically written by Spiner and Stewart, and it's produced by them both, and they're all over the goddamn thing.
Yeah.
So you're gonna get a Thor 3, and then maybe not a 4. You're gonna get a Captain America 3, and then something else is gonna happen, and you're gonna get an Avengers 3, and then they're gonna wipe. Right? Yeah. So
start over, new cast, new stuff, new everything down the road.
Maybe, yeah. But I mean, it's just that's why.
So what these X-Men guys, what kind of money are they getting from Fox for this Days of Future Past piece of stuff? Because this would be their 4th time out.
Well, I don't know because it's different. Because there's no X-Men 4. It went X-Men 1, X2, and then Last Stand, and then boom. Then it was a Wolverine movie. Now that's not X-Men 4. That's a new Wolverine movie. And then there was Wolverine 2, and if there's a 3rd one, there won't be another one. Now, they want to do more X-Men, so what do? Reboot. Now it's Days of Future Past. Yeah. Now we're on the 2nd of this new trilogy.
Yeah, but you got all those same actors in there. They can count that as a new start?
I don't know.
That's weird.
I don't know. Like Halle Berry and all them. That's why they might just be doing cameos.
Oh, yeah. Some of them are. That's true.
I don't know. It's super interesting, but...
I had no idea this was a thing. I didn't know that's how it works.
It is a thing.
That's crazy. Well, I mean, it looks good. I think to bring it back around, I think Guardians of the Galaxy looks like a load of fun. I can't wait to see it. I want that vibe to carry throughout. It felt good to me. I'm not sure how I feel about I never trust it when somebody puts, I can't think of his name all of a sudden. The guy that was telling the other dude about who they had in custody. Hey, what's the actor?
Oh,
John C. Reilly.
John C. Reilly, I like as an actor, but whenever they roll him out for like kind of a role like this, I get nervous. I don't know why. They may as well be Will Ferrell or somebody from that crew. So
What do you think about the Parks and Rec guy?
I like Chris.
He's great.
I like him a lot. I think his star's on the rise. I mean, nobody.
Yeah.
I don't know how much of the mainstream public know that he's the lead Lego voice in that Lego movie that's killing it.
Oh, is he really? I didn't know that.
That's Chris Pratt. So he's on a roll right now, and I think that's great. And he buffed up for this role. He looks good. He cracks me up on Parks and Rec in a big way. He married Anna Faris. She's totally hot.
The guy that's behind John C. Reilly, the one that says, "What a bunch of a-holes."
Yeah.
That guy is the voice of Darth Maul.
No way.
Yeah.
Well, wait. Is he the? Oh, I thought the dude that did Darth Maul's voice was the same as the actor.
No,
Was Ray
Ray
Park.
Park.
No.
Ray Park
has
Oh.
got a super, super thick accent.
Oh. Where's he?
doesn't work quite
British,
right.
English accent?
I think it's
He
like
was Scottish or something.
Something, yeah.
Welsh,
Yeah.
maybe. Well, that's interesting. I didn't know that. That's crazy. I just figured out after I finally saw The Hobbit. Yeah, whatever. It took me forever. My wife and I went out and saw the new Hobbit movie the other day, and I had no idea that the pie maker from Pushing Daisies was the freaking Elf King, underground Elf King.
Yeah.
That's
and
crazy,
he's in
right?
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Is he?
Yeah, he's Ronan the Accuser.
Oh, great. Well, then let that guy star rise as well. It's fine. I was just like, wait, that's the pie. I go, who is that guy? My wife goes, that's the pie maker. I'm like, what? Holy shit. Anyway, who knew he could be that guy? Let's talk about Johnny Storm. He's back, and some people have a problem with it. It was announced that they maybe have their Fantastic Four, at least Johnny Storm, perhaps. And then Steve and everybody farted blood. What happened?
Oh, yeah. So Michael B. Jordan, has been cast for Johnny Storm for a long time. Today they announced that 3 other actors will fill out the role. Cara Mara, that you know from House of Cards, she will be playing Sue Storm, brother of Johnny Storm. These two are not of the same ethnicity, and I think that's where people have lost their crap.
No.
So Michael
How
B. Jordan.
could that ever work?
So Michael B. Jordan is dude from, for those who don't know, Friday Night Lights in its
Wire.
last couple of seasons. Oh, he's on The Wire as well? Or am I thinking of the wrong guy? Maybe I'm thinking of the wrong kid.
Thinking of the wrong guy. I think this is the guy that's been on The Wire.
I could have sworn he was on FNL.
I'll double check.
All right, yeah. Check into that. But
Who are you talking about? The guy cast as Johnny Storm?
yeah.
Yes.
He was in Chronicle.
Yeah, that's the kid then. He's on Friday Night Lights. That's the kid I'm thinking of. He's really good.
Yeah, he's going to be
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, I got no problem with him. Perfect casting. Why do you think people care? Is it just simply
Because they're racist.
Yes, that's what it boils down to.
Because they're fucking racist.
Well, or
That's
maybe
all
they're
it
just
is.
purists. Maybe that sounds bad too, but maybe they're just purists because
Yeah,
they're like,
purists, all right.
but I mean, they're like, wait, if they're going to be siblings,
Pure
you can't mess around with this. And I think what they're thinking, I'm just going to give them benefit of the doubt. Let's just say that they're saying you can't have the Fantastic Four and have them rolling around pretending like they are brother sister when obviously they're not. That's what they're thinking.
Well,
And
right, but they're assuming that the makers of the movie don't realize what they've done. Obviously, they'll just write it so it makes sense.
Yeah.
Either they're not brothers or sisters, they're going to do the origin completely different.
Yeah.
Well, she's Sue Storm, he's Johnny Storm. Okay. So adoption or half brother or half
brother
sister? Like,
it all
who
makes
gives a shit?
it works for me, and I could give 2 craps. I mean,
Who cares?
when you're casting a role, you're trying to find the best person to play that part.
See, because the guys that are making the movie already have an idea of what the movie is going to be about. So they're like, what if we got this guy? Because then we could do this, right?
Yeah.
So they don't give a shit if Heimdall is supposed to be white because they're like, what if we had Idris Elba fucking run and jump onto a goddamn spaceship and dagger fall down the side of the ship
Yeah.
and then land? And everyone's like, yes. When can we do that?
Yeah.
So who cares if Heimdall is white in the comic?
Yeah.
Yes, here's for all of you guys out there that are raging about this. Here's Scott's rant.
Oh yeah, dude. Everybody on Twitter's like, we're gonna get one. I'm like,
Yeah,
what?
you're gonna get one.
All right, go.
You're right. The Fantastic Four are all white. And if that means they're changing the character, but that's okay because these characters were all made in the 50s when we were marginalizing black people. It was before the civil rights movement. There was no possibility for them to be black.
Yeah. It would have never
There
happened.
couldn't have a character that was black in the fucking 50s. So if you don't start making some of these characters black now that you have the opportunity to reinvent them, then then we're just supporting the same fucking bullshit from the 50s.
Yeah.
So when you say it doesn't make sense, he's supposed to be white, then you're kind of being sort of racist.
Well, at the very least, you're being ignorant about the source material, at the very least. Because if somebody a year ago made a new thing and dudes were white in it, you'd have I'm not saying it's still a good argument, but you'd have a better argument about that changing than you would about a thing that was birthed during a time where you would be fired, killed, whatever, for putting a black dude in your comic.
Go watch Go watch the Deep Space Nine episode where Sisko is having that dream where he's the science fiction writer.
Oh, that one's great.
Yeah, what was it called? Something Beyond the Stars.
It
I think
was
it's called
Jake
Beyond the
Sisko was it's two-parter or something.
No, it's he keeps the prophets or whatever the fuck they were doing with all that Bajoran spiritual bullshit.
Holy crap!
The prophets sent him. He was having hallucinations where he was a pulp fiction writer in the 40s.
Oh, different thing then. Yeah, I'm thinking.
And he was writing deep stories about the black captain on Deep Space Nine.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah,
they pulped the book rather than publish it because his protagonist was black.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why Johnny Storm and Sue Storm are white.
Well, but I mean, the other thing people are forgetting is the last time Fox did a Fantastic Four movie, the brother and sister were different races there too.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Jessica Alba
is a white girl with blonde hair. She's not Hispanic.
No, she's of Mexican descent.
Is she?
Her mother is French Canadian, father Mexican ancestry.
Is he?
Yeah, but
Yes.
she passes.
But on screen, she totally passes for white.
passes.
Yeah, she passes for white.
She passes.
I'll give you that.
The Johnny Storm choice in this is actually my favorite of the four.
Yeah, same.
I like it
dislike
too. I can't see
three.
the other three.
The other three kind of bug me. I can't, who knows? Get them out of their suits and out of that line they're standing in for this photo. But maybe I'll feel better. But I'm excited about him in this. I think he'd be freaking great.
Yeah, all he has to do is be like a hot shot, a little bit cocky, good-looking guy, good with the women, and he's Johnny Storm. Doesn't matter what color he is.
Yeah.
Now, the guy who's supposed to be Ben Grimm, I don't picture that as like a tough New York street guy.
No.
That he's supposed to be. I don't picture Sue Storm. I personally, I don't really like that actress. She doesn't strike me as that sort of maternal figure that Sue Storm is supposed to be.
Yeah.
At least the things that I've read with her in it. So she's attractive, but I just don't picture her as Sue Storm.
Yeah.
And the other guy, kind of, at least all the pictures I've seen of him, kind of has a baby face.
He looks like he's about 12, yeah.
Well, but that's the thing. I don't know how old all these actors and actresses are, but in the comics, Reed Richards is 35, 40 years old or older.
With his
And,
cool gray.
They're not. They're doing Ultimate.
Oh, they're doing the Ultimate Comics,
Right,
yeah.
That's
But nobody's
the way this
complaining
goes.
about these guys look too young.
No. They're just complaining that one of them is too black. Is what's going on.
I think it was Comic Alliance today that stated that the actors playing Johnny and Sue Storm are younger than Chris Evans and Jessica Alba were. No, they are older than Jessica Alba and Chris Evans were when they played.
Oh, really? That's cool.
Yeah.
Well,
it's fine, guys. They tried the Fantastic Four once where they tried to stick to the archetypes, and you saw what we got.
Yeah,
so let them play.
It got weird. It's fine. Listen, Jamie Bell as Hank. As Hank? Yeah, Hank. Wait, no, I'm not Hank. Who am I talking
he's
about?
He's going to be the Thing.
I'm sorry. He's the Thing. He's going to be all mocap and CGI anyway.
Yeah.
So we'll see him before the big accident or whatever they write into this. But he'll be mocapped. You watch. Maybe some facial stuff, but it'll be like Smaug and his facial stuff with Cumberbatch. It'll be like that.
Cumberbatch doesn't look anything like a dragon. That was such bad casting.
I thought he was great. I love that. All right, Star Wars: The Clone Wars is going to finish up its sixth season, I guess, on Netflix. And you were a big fan, Stephen, of this show.
I am a big fan. I like it, and for the weirdest reason, I like it because it spends more time on the politics of the Star Wars universe than any other bit of Star Wars stuff that I've seen.
Yeah.
And that's why I dig it. And I kind of like the character of Ahsoka, and I want to see what happens to her at the end of this.
Yeah, that was a hell of a cliffhanger to just say, okay, we're done.
Yeah, we're out.
So I'm hoping that this pays off in a way that fans are happy with. But this is also the first time that anything Star Wars has ever been up on Netflix, too.
Will the whole series be there or just this final season?
No, I think it's just this final season.
Erg. I want to see. I'm behind probably most of it. And I liked what I saw when I saw it, but I'd like to catch up, and I'd like to do it all in one place, and it sounds like I can't. That's too bad. Maybe at some point. But, yeah, that's good. So it'll find a home. Mm-hmm. So look for that, everybody.
For a number of years, too. So it's not going to be there and go away. It's a multi-year deal that they've signed.
It's not like there was some movie the other day that it's like the 8th time I've seen it show up on Netflix, and it's always there for about a week, and then it's out. Some of these deals, I don't get it. These weird deals they get on Netflix where there's a movie and it's just blip and then gone. I don't get it. Let's see. What else? Marvel announces Early Adventures of Spider-Man. Interesting. Not that this replaces Superior or anything like that, but it's interesting to do this instead of let's do another far-flung, or current day thing.
Well, I think that's interesting because we were just talking about this on the last Comic Dorks, right? Kurtz, where you were talking about the problem of Spider-Man and trying to keep him the same schlubby little high school kid.
Yeah.
This stuff sets it in year 1.
Yeah, I mean, they kind of do that. They're kind of doing that with other books too, but just not officially resetting things. But I mean, that new Hawkeye graphic novel is essentially year 1. They're just starting over. I mean, they're writing in that the continuity is there, but this is kind of a brand new version of this character. You got to kind of start over at some point.
It's a fresh start, and don't you think it's a good time to do it after all the Superior stuff? I mean, think about where we're at. If you'd have gone to Stan Lee in 65 and said, dude, guess what we're going to do with your character? Doc Ock's going to be inside him for a long time. How you feel about that? He would have just gone,
I love it.
Excelsior or something.
He'd be fine with it. This is more motivated by the movie than anything. They want to have a title that new people that went to the movie and said, I want to go buy Spider-Man comics can pick up and get right away and not have to go, what's happening?
I'm looking forward to it. It's like that first 5 minutes of every origin story and every movie that you hear with Spider-Man where he shoots a web, it doesn't quite work right, and he falls. Let's spend a little more time there and just see him kind of fuddle through this stuff and figure his shit out.
I agree. Like his webs again. We can learn about how confusing his webs are, or unless he makes them, I guess.
These damn webs.
Yeah, these
I don't know
webs.
how to use them.
What do I do with these webs? Jeff Johns and John Romita Jr. take on the Man of Steel. Well, that's exciting. At least until they leave in a huff, right? Like everyone else does.
Well, Jeff Johns probably won't.
You think he'll hang out? He's got carte blanche these days.
Well, he's like,
he's like
one of the chief creative. No, that's Jim Lee's the chief creative officer, right?
He's like their.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
Joe Quesada.
Jeff Johns is the chief creative officer, and Jim Lee is the chief or the co-editor in chief.
Do you think they're part of the cultural problem that everybody has, or do you think they're not really part of that? They're purely on the creative side, and there's no sort of suit problem with those two guys. I'm trying to get my head around why they just keep bleeding people, good people too, over at DC, and they keep leaving. And if these guys are chief creative and chief whatever, it seems like they'd have a hand in that. Not maybe to its benefit, maybe to its detriment. I don't know. I can't tell. I mean, it's all speculation, but that seems like they should be able to do something about it,
I don't know. I don't know, because are you talking about like the people that are just bailing?
Yeah, they're just out.
Like Rob Liefeld and stuff left?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, Liefeld's always hard to tell. I mean, he's whatever. He leaves places in a huff sometimes. But like other dudes.
I think Jim Lee and Jeff Johns are more responsible for the 90s-ification of DC again. You know.
Well, and that's what a lot of people I think complain about is.
But that's not why creators are leaving.
No.
What do you think they're leaving for? Better money?
I think that
what does that sound? Do you guys hear that Doppler effect sound?
I heard it too. It's not coming from me.
Yeah, I can't figure it out.
I've got my mute on, but
is it me?
It might be.
Sitting still.
It sounds like something going boom, boom, boom,
like a tap.
Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
It's me clicking. Right?
Oh. All right. I thought it was a mic.
Sorry.
No. You're fine. You're fine. Keep going.
God, I'm trying to remember now because there was a reason why
Well, if you follow Rob Liefeld, he said it was because stories were being changed at the very last minute, and directions that stories were going were suddenly shifted off to another story, and art was expected to be changed immediately, and stories were expected to be changed immediately, and he blamed it all on editorial.
Oh yeah, that's the impression I got. The impression I got was that people were not happy with DC editorial, the way that it was being run, but that's a personnel or a management problem as opposed to a philosophy problem.
Do you guys know if there's a vastly different corporate culture between DC and Marvel?
Well, you keep hearing that there is, but who knows? I mean, I think there's some excitement over at Marvel right now that isn't necessarily directly connected to the comics side of things. So they know that their movies are getting better play. They know that they're getting better success. They think that the Disney thing is working out in everybody's favor. So there's probably a little more of a draw there right now, because everything that happens at DC tends to be, well,
DC might be in a sense of in a transitional state too, because aren't they like moving?
Yeah, they're moving, and I think it was like 3 or 4 weeks ago they had to turn in whether the people in New York were going to stay in New York or move out to California. They didn't have a choice. If they wanted to stay in New York, they couldn't work for DC anymore. And I know that there's several people that have left already because they weren't going to move to California. And so I think that there will be some upheaval over the next
But God, there
15 months.
was an ethical issue that people were leaving over for a while. Was it rights?
Well, it It could have been rights. It could have been the fact that they were replacing all of their characters of diversity with white people again.
That's right, and they were canning some of their female. I don't know. There's something. There was another exodus because of that. I don't know.
I worry that DC just seems at its core like a New York company to me. And it's weird that they're going to California. And I mean that on the most trivial of bases that I feel that way. There's really no other reason to stop it or change it. It just feels like that's more Gotham. And it's just, I don't know. It just feels like more of a DC town. And you take them to California and something feels weird about that.
Maybe that's the point of moving them. I don't know.
Yeah.
I do think that Jeff Johns and Jim Lee are just comic lovers at heart. I've met both of them. I've spoken with both of them, and they've been very kind to me in the past. But the sense I get from them is they just love making comics. But and they're shrewd businessmen. Don't get me wrong. But you can't put anyone in charge of something as big as DC Creative and expect everything to go smoothly for them. I mean, they've got a lot of hurdles to jump over. Quesada as well.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's a lot.
Big jobs for big people. Finally, the Cape Creator. This is a kickstarted documentary film, a tribute to bat maker Bill Finger. Basically, a film that is supposed to showcase the other co-creator that you never hear about of Batman. And I thought Kurtz might have something to say about this because everyone's going, Stan Lee didn't get enough credit, or Kirby didn't. Where's Kirby's credit, or all these arguments we keep hearing about and we bring it up on the show occasionally.
I don't feel as I feel very differently about Bill Finger than I do Jack Kirby. I think Bill Finger did kind of get screwed by Bob Kane. And there was a lot. You don't see that a lot with Stan. I don't see a lot of history of collaborators with Stan arguing about who did what. There might be arguments between creators, lawyers, and Marvel corporate over royalties and stuff. But this is really a matter of like Bob Kane and Bill Finger used to argue all the time about who created Batman and who created the Joker. And then Jerry Robinson. Jerry Robinson. Let me look it up. He's a Jerry Robinson.
He's son of Bob Kane's first Batman artist, Jerry Robinson, right?
Jerry Robinson is the guy.
Oh, he's the dude. Jen's in this film. That's what it is.
He recently passed away.
Yeah.
He passed away in 2011. Jerry, if you go to any award show in comics, if you go to the Harveys or the Eisners or any of them, he always steps up and goes on about two things: the time he drew Lassie comics, or Rin Tin Tin comics, one of the two, and how Bill Finger got fucked, and because he was there. So this is very, very different. And I think he was instrumental in getting the Bob Finger Awards made for the Eisners, and I think this guy Bob Finger just kind of got screwed. So
he did.
He really did. And I think that this documentary is great. And I think that when you watch this documentary, you'll see creators who knew him and were around at the time. And, Bob Kane was shrewd and he got, ownership and stuff. But I think later Bob Kane even admitted, he's like, yeah, like not necessarily a deathbed confession, but pretty close to deathbed, going, yeah, I never really did give Bob as much credit as he deserved, but it's easy to say then.
Yeah.
But no, I've got no problem with the Bill Finger thing.
Well, it'll be interesting to see if the film makes it. Right now, they're only looking for 12K. They're at 7,500, 13 days to go. I don't know why it's getting such little play. It seems like something that would take off.
Because people don't know about it.
That's a big part of it, yeah.
And I don't know when this campaign would have kicked off probably at the beginning of the month. Most of them are 30 days, 60 days.
Yeah.
There was that big push and I forget who was pushing for that Google, the Google logo change. They were trying to do that for his 100th birthday, for Bill Finger's 100th birthday. Oh. And that may have taken some of the spotlight away from this.
Yeah,
because everybody was focused on that when they could have been focused over here on this Kickstarter.
That's true. It's getting some play now. Part of the problem is the description basically tells the entire story. It's like there's not really much left for what the film's going to have in it, but whatever. I guess they all have to kind of do that. But it's very descriptive of the entire story. And when you get done reading the Kickstarter description, you're like, oh, all right.
That was a good documentary.
Yeah, that was pretty good. Anyway, we'll see how that all goes for everybody involved.
It sucks, right? Like, again, it's one of those things where the documentary is not going to fix anything.
No. They often don't. Right?
No.
Not often. I mean, no, I don't know what I'm saying. No, I don't. All right, here's this.
You're going to tune in on them and persuade them to change their mind.
You must be insane.
Some quick leftover stuff. Jada Pinkett Smith cast as the villain in Fox's Gotham television series. I guess that means that weird medical show she was on got canceled. She's got time for that now. Which I tried to watch with my wife. It was not very good. It was pretty bad. That's cool, I guess. Sure. What villain? Take your pick here.
It's a new character. Some street thug that's very street savvy and tough.
Okay. Has she not done really much since? I'm trying to think. Like the Matrix sequels she was in. But other than that.
She produces a ton.
All right. Well, her and her husband, they got a little cash.
Is this going to be like an Smallville / Arrow quality show? Okay.
Well, I mean, it's on Fox, not CW, so
they
could go very much different. But this is basically Jim Gordon year 1 or year -1.
I didn't know if it was going to be a CW show or if it was going to be...
No. It's totally on Fox.
Wow.
CW means it'll be like Arrow and Smallville,
yes.
and it'll last a long time. If it's on Fox, we'll get about 4 episodes. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
4 max. I mean, it's the easy joke to make about Fox these days, but I don't know how this show survives, to be honest. It better be really good for them to hang on to it.
I don't know how Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is surviving.
Yeah. Well, I think I know, and that's just... Well, actually, the weird part is Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. What network is that run on? It's not
ABC.
It's ABC because they're Disney owns ABC.
Disney.
Yeah, I think that thing's artificially would live regardless of quality. I think it is in their interest to extend that universe as long as some people are watching.
Oh yeah, it's a weekly commercial to remind you that hey, there's movies coming up that tie into this.
Yeah, they probably pay for the marketing budget.
Yeah. That's pretty. That seems weird now that you think.
Are you guys still watching?
Because no, I've stopped. I mean,
I
just can't finish it. That's the problem.
I watched the episode that is supposed to introduce the J. August Richards as Deathlock, and I'm like, okay, so they're gonna bring Sif in. They're gonna have the girl that Jamie Alexander come in and be Sif. They're gonna introduce Cersei. So they're bringing in Asgardians, and then they're gonna make J. August Richard Deathlock, and so.
I do like Deathlock.
The episode goes, all right, we're giving you this mechanical leg. His face is all effed up.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're going to put anything on his face, but like give him a mechanical eye. But so they put the leg on him, and then he walks around with this super leg and does some shit. And then at the end, it shows him asking if he can see his son, and the person talking to him through the chip in his eye says, no, not yet. And then it goes down, it pans down to his leg, and then it zooms in again, and then turns 90 degrees and zooms in again. And on the label of one piece of the leg, it says Deathlock. And I was like, and I'm out again. What the fuck?
That's terrible.
It's the worst.
I love Deathlock as a character. It's basic. He's Cyborg for the Marvel side. You know?
Yeah, he's Marvel's. Why don't we make a black guy that's a cyborg?
Yeah, we gotta. I love that they do that. There's so many cases of that. But anyway, it's not to say Fox's Gotham won't do well. We'll see. Who knows? DC cancels Gail Simone's The Movement series. You were Steven. You're a big.
I wasn't. I'm a big fan of Gail Simone.
Not really reading that
fan
series.
Of the movement. I read the first issue and I was like, nope, sorry.
All right.
This one is not for me. Don't care for it. A lot of people liked it though, but I don't know. Something weird went on with Gail Simone and DC Comics. She was like writing exclusively for them, and then they like fired her, and like 5 minutes later rehired her, and now she's writing for a bunch of other companies.
Yeah, all that stuff with DC. That's what I'm saying. There's just weird stuff going on over there.
Yeah.
I don't know if that. I mean, it could be her too, but I don't know.
No, sure.
Seems funky.
It's time for the comic dorks to get to the bottom of
That's
this.
right. You boys ready? Let's go in. The deadly hands of Kung Fu returns in May for all those.
I am excited about this.
That's awesome.
It is.
So for those not initiated, why? What's the big deal?
Because it's
Kung Fu,
70s
man.
comics, man.
Yeah.
It's like in the late 70s, it was like, what if the superhero was a disco girl? What if a superhero was a kung fu guy like Bruce Lee?
Yeah, what if Bruce Lee was a superhero?
Yeah.
This looks good.
It's gonna be
the
real
best,
good,
man.
Okay.
I bet it quickly climbs to one of the best comics that they
Called
put
The
out.
Deadly Hands of Kung Fu.
Yeah. I don't know how you lose.
His superpower is he's super good at kung fu.
Yes.
That's awesome.
That seems pretty great.
I'll be reading that.
Yeah, I'll read that too.
Yeah,
that
you
seems
will.
Good. You know what else you'll be reading, Mark? Because I know you. You'll be reading Punky Brewster and Saved by the Bell, as they're now getting digital comic book treatment from Lion Forge Comics. Because you read that weird shit sometimes.
Well, yeah, I do.
Well, you take the bullet for us. Don't I appreciate it for one.
I read comics. The whole thing now is I just want to read stuff that I immediately judge and look at and go, that looks like crap, because I want to find the gems.
Yeah.
That clearly won't be one of them, but I'll probably read it anyway.
Punky Brewster. What's going on with that?
A little bit of Screech, digital comic Screech.
Sure. Yeah. Before that guy, what's his name? Dustin Diamond, before he lost it. That's great.
Became a porn star.
Yeah, he was, or had his own. He had like, was he a porn star? Or he just had a couple of movies he made.
He had a movie.
I think he had like a sex tape or something.
Why is he what? Why? What's going on there? All right, that's it. Let's talk about what we've been reading.
Wait a minute. Don't leave me here alone. I'll talk. I'll tell you everything I know.
Scott Kurtz, what have you been reading?
Well, I'm caught up with the Six Gun, and I got to see the pilot.
Damn it! You got to see the what?
He told me I wouldn't get in trouble for saying it, but I got to see the pilot.
The pilot for the show?
Yeah, because I was hanging out with Hurt. He had it on disc.
Oh, and you were stuck in that house. You could just do whatever you
I
wanted.
had to watch it over and over again.
Oh, we were just jerking each other off. It was the best.
Oh my gosh! I know you probably can't say much about it, or can you?
Well, it wasn't the best.
Oh, all right.
But yeah, there were things I would do differently, but it was kind of cool.
Yeah. Plus,
it was kind of cool to get to see it.
Mm.
But what the pilot isn't, goddamn, the books are, and it just gets crazier and crazier.
Mm.
The new trade just came out, and it's really
that book. I want that so bad.
ante. It's so good.
Yeah.
And then I also picked up Paul Pope's Battling Boy, which is put out by First Second. First Second puts out a bunch of good books. But Paul Pope is kind of like the comic industry's like rock star.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He is really like a rock star. I think he is technically a rock star. I think he's got a band, but he's done a lot of really cool stuff. I think you might have a bit of a learning curve with Paul Pope because he can get a little kind of trippy, and he's got a very painterly style to his inks, and he letters his own stuff. So his letters kind of look like blobby, really cool kind of forms in their own right. And his characters are all kind of really trippy. But this book is a good primer, I think, because I've had a lot of people tell me they don't know how to start reading Paul Pope. And I've always pointed them to Batman Year 100.
100, yeah.
But I think Battling
that's
Boy,
where I've seen his art. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very unique.
Yeah, he's super alt indie kind of guy. But Battling Boy is so much fun. It's kind of like a mix between like the son of Thor, but also Superboy mashed into kind of a fun book. But it's very fun. This kid's got a bunch of T-shirts, and each T-shirt has an animal on it. And when he puts on a T-shirt, he gets the power of that totem, and he
Dial
can
H for hero in T-shirts.
Kinda, but not really. He still is the same. Essentially, it'd be like if Thor's son was sent to Earth or sent to Midgard to do good, and he's just learning how to be a good guy. And there's monsters on Earth, and you got to fight monsters.
All right.
But anyway, it's a lot of fun. It's a graphic novel, so it's good thick stuff to it. I mean, it's thicker. The fuck am I trying to say? It's longer reads, such as a floppy. And then I also picked up a book because I'm looking for comics that I can eventually give to my niece when she becomes reading age. So I picked up this book, Hilda and the Mountain Giant. And it's a kind of an all ages kids kind of comic, fairy tale stuff. But I guess it's one of a series of these graphic novels, kind of European format, kind of asterisk sized. And it's about this girl, Hilda, and kind of the, fairy tale-y adventure she has. It's super fun and really, really well drawn. But if you're looking for something to read your kids, especially younger kids, you can't go wrong with these Hilda books, apparently.
Yeah.
You
might want to check out too, Scott, the series called Saltwater Taffy.
Oh, I love that. I have that.
Yeah.
book.
Yeah. I think that's really good too.
That's great. And then I read She-Hulk #1 because we all decided to read
Yeah, She-Hulk #1, baby. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about that real quick. I have never read a She-Hulk. Mark, and you and I were both talking about this. We've never read a She-Hulk book.
Nope.
And I don't know why. I think I always had a bias about just, it's a girl Hulk now. Like, we got the man Hulk, now is the girl. I never really understood the character or the origin or any of that.
Yeah, I dismissed it too.
I just thought, whatever, this seems dumb. I got enough Hulk in my life. It seems wildly sexist that I would separate it that way, but whatever. Call it for what it is. I was just an ass when I was 14 or whatever. And I just never got around to watching it or reading it. This reminds me of the new freaking over there in Marvel, the one we love so much. What's wrong with me? The dude from the Avengers, Arrow Man. Hawkeye. Gosh. It reminds me of the Hawkeye comic.
I think because it starts out the same way, that Hawkeye in that first issue kind of sets himself up apart from his other life.
Right. And just the kind of pop art and the humor and all that stuff is in line with each other.
And it doesn't have to do, the first issue of Hawkeye doesn't have to do with him being Hawkeye.
Yeah.
Just like this issue is more about Jennifer being a lawyer and not beat him up Hulk. Although she does get some of that action going on.
Sure. And I liked it a hell of a lot.
Does she never go back to normal? She's always green?
She's always green.
Always green.
She's always green.
Always green.
She can.
Always
she
intelligent.
Can go back.
She just chooses not to.
Can she get bigger though? Like bigger? You know what I mean?
What do you mean?
Well, like
Hulk up. Does
she Hulk up a little bit when she's super pissed? Because I kept getting the impression in the book when she was fighting.
I don't know if they retcon that. I mean, it used to be the Hulk would get bigger if he got madder, but I don't know how long that lasted. I don't think she ever was that way.
Okay.
The original She-Hulk back in the 70s or whatever was that Jennifer is Bruce's cousin.
Yeah,
and she got gunned down because she's a lawyer. She got gunned down by a gang. She needed a blood transfusion, and Bruce was the only one around, and so she ended up being the Hulk. And she was She-Hulk because she got his gamma blood. But she only was kind of out of control of being She-Hulk for a very short period of time. Didn't affect her the way that it affected Bruce. But then in the I guess it was the 80s, John Byrne did a really good job kind of introducing She-Hulk in her own title, and it was a very kind of humorous thing and focused on her being a lawyer. And then she was in the Fantastic Four for a while. She replaced the Thing in the Fantastic Four when John Byrne was doing his run. And so that really kind of established Jennifer as, I am Jennifer Walters. This is who I am. I'm this big green person. I'm a public persona. I don't hide who I am. And then a couple of years ago, Dan Slott did a really great series with She-Hulk that didn't last very long, but it was very similar vein. It was focused a lot on her practice, and this book really seems great because it really feels like it's going to be kind of like a David E. Kelly version of She-Hulk.
Yeah, and I like her interaction with Tony Stark is interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody's dragging Iron Man out to be their cameo in every comic now, forever it feels like, but good use of that, I thought, and I like the humor a lot, and I'm in. I think this is great. I'm totally digging it. I don't know. I feel like an idiot for thinking, I mean, they're like, there was a long time I didn't read any Captain America because I thought he was the propaganda thing that he was in the original. He just always had sort of been this like, okay, well, America's awesome. And here's a guy who proves it because he kicks everyone's ass. Well, that's just way short-sighted of me at the time. And I feel like I've been a little short-sighted about this. So I'm stoked to see where this goes. It's good so far.
I like the story because it allowed her to follow the clues in order to solve the mystery of where the lawsuit sits. And the story is about she runs into someone at the bar who needs a lawyer because her dead husband used to be a bad guy and invented the repulsor rays that Tony Stark now uses in his Iron Man suit. And she feels like she's owed something because essentially the patent was stolen. And I like how she just follows along and follows the clues until she finds the smoking gun and is able to confront Tony directly about it. And I thought it was really well. And I love this character that they create in here called, what's his name? The litigator
Legal?
or the lawyer? The legal.
No, it was legal.
Legal. I am simply legal.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's great.
I thought that was brilliant.
Yeah, very good.
He's awesome. So Mark, what'd you think?
It was a lot of fun. I actually was pleasantly surprised by it. I thought it was, she's green. She's a green Hulk lady, and it's going to be hard for her to do anything on a professional level. So I thought it was actually cool with her, leaving the firm and losing her job because I don't know if we can say too many details about it. It's not that big of a deal.
It happens on page 2.
Yeah.
But basically, she's only there because of her connections, but she's not exploiting those connections, so she's useless to them. So she has to go. Yeah. So it's kind of cool to see immediately taking that, like, yeah, that's kind of what would happen in a case like that if there were really a green woman walking around. So she's got to start her own practice.
Yeah,
and it makes sense.
That was one of my questions though about this book was: is it always been this way with her that most people just don't seem to notice that she's green?
No, everyone knows who she is.
Okay, well, I mean, yeah, she's an open hero in the way that Iron Man is. I get that, but they didn't play with any, and maybe this was on purpose, or maybe I'm just looking for it in the wrong places. But they didn't play on any of that sort of she's a green lady weirdness or kind of quote unquote racial stuff.
So it would be like, think about it this way: in the Marvel universe, seeing She-Hulk would be the same as seeing Johnny Cochran back during OJ's trial.
All right.
I mean, immediately who he is. He's a lawyer.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of something else. It'd be like seeing a baseball player.
Yeah. Does she not have
famous in public?
Okay.
Does she not have that sort of fear element though? A temper that you would not want to piss her off?
No, she does not lose control. She's just She-Hulk. She's just strong.
Because I'm just thinking about when she's talking to her bosses and she just splits the table by touching it. It's like
no, that's
her being just
lazy.
vindictive.
That's fucking lazy writing. I'm so sick of that shit. They did it in Man of Steel too. It's like, I thought it would have been better for her to not
do that.
Take the high
not
road,
have done that. Yeah,
I think it would be more consistent with what we're supposed to expect from her at this point to not do that.
Because she had to be pushed really to the brink to even fight Tony's guard robots and take matters into her own hands and get upstairs and talk to him directly and get through his red tape. Like that took her forever. It was, it didn't seem like she could have done that at any time, but she was like, well, last resort sort of thing, and then she had to do it, and that felt a little inconsistent.
No,
but
she found that smoking gun. She wanted to confront Tony on it. She knows there's a bunch of automation to keep her away just because she needs to talk to him about it, and she wasn't going to let Tony hide from it.
Right.
So, but that's different than saying, well, you fucking fired me for legitimate reasons. They're very upfront with her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like, you didn't bring us the connections, right?
You didn't bring us any Tony Stark money. You didn't bring us Reed Richards thoughts of patents every day. You haven't brought us any of that. We have lawyers to fight court cases. We need you to bring in business. And she's like, well, I'm not going to do that. I'm like, all right, we're going to let you go.
Yeah.
They were dickish about it, but they were straight with her. And that's why it was great at the end. I think it was a great book because it's establishing that what she cares about, who she identifies with as is a lawyer. So she's got all this muscle, but all she cares about is that she loves the law.
Right.
I think it's great. I'm really excited about it.
I am too. It's
I'm
good.
glad you guys made me read it.
Yeah, it's really good.
What'd you guys think of the art?
It's good. I didn't hate it. I thought it was again. It's in that vein of that other stuff. It's just kind of pop arty and
it looks like Mike. To me, it looks like Mike Allred, even though it's not.
Yeah, it's quite a bit like that.
It is. He he has a lot of tangents. Don't please. This is gonna somehow get back to the gal that drew this. I gotta look up the artist now.
Yeah.
But I've been noticing. I was like, a lot of tangents in this. I'm such a dick. It's all right. It's I like it. It does have a nice, like you said, it's got a nice pop element to it.
Yeah. It's definitely different than I expected. I guess I could say it that way. And it
looks great on the iPad.
Yeah, it sure does look great on there.
Beautiful colors.
All right, very nice. I also read She-Hulk, and now we've talked about it. Also, have been reading. I started up Guardians of the Galaxy. I think there's 3 issues up on Marvel Unlimited. I wanted to kind of get into this. This is the Bendis one. I think it's new, right? This is a new series. I want to say.
Probably have to be, yeah.
I really like it so far. It's definitely not. There's some goof going on, but it's definitely not the tone of that trailer. It's taking itself pretty seriously so far, and I'm not super deep in, but we've kind of got Star-Lord's origin story and his alien dad coming to Earth and crash landing, and the mom and what happens to her and those guys. I forgot the name of the dudes that are after him, but they try to wipe him out so that there's no bloodline for the king of that part of the galaxy or whatever. And he's now told all this in flashback, and I'm up to the point in issue 2 where he's kind of starting to roll around with these regular characters, and these are all the people from the film. So this feels very much like here are the characters from the film, but there's also a bunch of differences. Like the plant dude, Groot, does not look like Groot from that trailer. He looks like a very different kind of Groot. And I'm digging it. I like it a lot. The art is insane, and I didn't write down the artist's name. I meant to, but really, really good stuff. Just amazing colors, and I like it a lot. And I'm more on board than I've ever been, partially because my eyes got improved by that surgery. But I like the Marvel Unlimited app more than I used to. I'm not having as many sort of problems with it. I still think the Comixology app's just a better overall feel, and it's not, it doesn't feel like some janky converted Flash app, but it's fine. There's so much content there that it's fine, and I have a year's thing on that, so I'm enjoying the hell out of it. That's it for me, pretty much. Just digging into those. Mark, what have you been up to?
Before I tell you that, I've got a link to a Wired article for anybody who does want to go back and kind of try to play catch up with some of this Guardians of the Galaxy stuff. It gives you a quick summary of the different characters and then gives some recommended reading. And it's certainly not clear cut because they're kind of taking from various different time periods. But they actually give you a good direction on, if you really want to dig into it, what to read. So I'm going to drop that into the notes there. It's for everybody.
Thanks.
Okay, so I have been catching up on my Walking Dead, and it's becoming very frustrating. I don't know whether it's maybe having a kid has killed my short-term memory, but when I'm reading Walking Dead, I'm keeping up with the current continuity. Then I'm watching the show, and I'm watching the revised old continuity, and it's confusing the shit out of me. And I'm like, because like now you've got Negan, and he's a badass, and he's like the new governor, and the governor's situation, and they're all running for their lives. And I'm like, I really feel like I need to give one up so I can actually enjoy the other one a little bit more. And I don't know, it might be the TV show, because I think the comic book is to me much more entertaining than the TV show is. So the more I get into it, the more frustrated I get. But yeah, that's nothing new with The Walking Dead for me, at least. Let's see. Aside from that, I was reading Invincible. It's one of my favorite ones, even though the turn over to 100, I think that was a big deal about nothing. Actually, just had a big reveal in issue 108 that is pretty awesome and kind of unexpected. I don't know if you guys like Ryan Ottley's art.
I do.
Oh yeah,
I normally
violent and beautiful.
Yeah, I normally don't go for ultra violent stuff, but holy crap, does his art get me? Like the head exploding thing where eyeballs are just popping out and there's brains going everywhere. I can't get enough of that. And there's a good amount of it in issue 108. It's good. It's good.
All right.
So basically Mark is going after his old enemy Angstrom for one last time because his girlfriend, or I don't know, are they married yet?
I don't think they are. Are they?
I don't think so.
Still the redhead chick.
Oh
yes.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Adam Eve.
Adam Eve.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so she's pregnant. He's worried about the kid, so he's got to go after this guy once and for all. And in this whole thing that happens, I'm not going to say anything about it. There's a big reveal that kind of twists the story, which I think is far better than the big deal they made about issue 100.
I liked it too. I thought it was really good.
I've missed one. Maybe that's the newest one.
That's the one.
Yep.
It's the one where there's a big.
All I know is the last
surprise.
Well, the last one I read, he was arguing with Adam Eve about going back, and he just went. He
Oh, this one.
Yep. It's the one
this
right
one they
after
go
that.
through.
Man, I'll have to go pick that up on my iPad right after
go
this
get it.
podcast.
It is good.
It's good. It's good.
It's good.
And the final one is, again, trying to, expand my horizons a little bit. I read number 1 issue called Go Getters from Monkey Brain Comics. And it's a story about a lady called Maya Diaz who travels around with her white gorilla, whose name is George Harrison. And they run what they call a retrieval company. Somebody needs something, like in this case, a coin, a special coin, and they go and retrieve it. And she's sort of just a mercenary badass with a gorilla. It's 99 cents, so sometimes I don't like to complain too much about a 99-cent comic because I was somewhat entertained for about 5 minutes.
Conceptually, you kind of got me with that. It sounds great.
That's about as far as it goes, though, because it's nothing new. It's kind of like you read these sort of storylines where it's just this, you've never seen these characters before, but it's a badass mercenary with this little gimmick thing, and this gimmick happens to be a giant white, tame but awful white gorilla whose name is George Harrison, and that's about all I can say about it. Right. It's worth checking out for 99 cents, but I don't know that this is something that anyone's really going to spend a whole lot of time and stick with the series. But
Ringo would have been a better monkey name, better ape name.
You know what? I was going to mention part of the running gag is her referring to people by like what they look like initially. So this guy's got a mustache in a bank, and she refers to him as Ringo.
Oh, really?
Okay. Yeah, oddly enough, ironically. But
peace and love, peace and love.
Yeah. So there was that. Go Getters by Monkey Brain Comics, and that's about it for me.
Nice, Steven, anything outside of She-Hulk for you?
I read She-Hulk.
Yeah.
No, I have not had a lot of time to read comics, but I have found some time. If I can just throw out, I'm a sucker for time travel movies.
Yeah, you're always saying.
Oh God, I know what you're gonna say
about time.
Don't bring up that movie again.
Why did you not like it?
I'm just stopped crying.
Oh,
good.
Gotcha.
Believe me, I was the exact same way. Oh my God, this is a fantastic movie that has time travel as the hook.
Yeah.
But it is all I will say is it's a love story and a father-son adventure story, and it will make you cry at the end.
Don't want it around your boy if you don't want him to see you cry, Scott.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. It's really good.
Rachel McAdams in it though, so almost ruined the movie for me.
Really?
Yeah, just a little bit.
She's all right.
Yeah, it's like it's the 2014. All of America are Anglophiles. Just make a British movie.
Yeah. I see. Yeah.
This shove. It's like, well, all right. There's the American girl, and now we have to deal with the fact that she's American because how else do we explain it? You know what I mean? It's like just everyone else in the movie was a Brit.
You got Bill Nye in there, dude? No.
Yep.
I love him.
Also, this is the second movie where she is the wife of a time traveler.
Yeah. Yeah, she was in Time Traveler's Wife.
Yeah. It's like...
That's her shtick.
Yeah.
Mads Mikkelsen. You need a weirdo. Just
if you like time travel and you like comedy and you're up for a good cry, About Time is it.
You're up for a big cry.
Yeah.
Well, I'm in. I want to see
in
it.
a really unexpected way. I mean, it just hits you all of a sudden. You're like, holy crap. When he finds out about the biggest drawback of time travel, you suddenly know what's going to happen.
Really? Oh, you guys are killing me. I've been hearing about this.
That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say because you guys haven't watched it. Scott knows what I'm talking about.
I like a good cry, so I'm in.
You guys watch this, and you will thank me later.
Okay.
And the great thing is, it was up on iTunes. I was waiting for months for it to come out, and it finally hit iTunes about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
and I devoured it, and I wanted to sit down and watch it again, but I didn't have time. But I want to see this again. It is such a great movie.
Hachi are a double feature punch me in the dick movie.
What's the other movie?
Hachi, the one about the dog that fucking never stops waiting for his dead master.
Oh, that's a great Futurama episode. Jeez,
dude, I will say this: Monuments Men.
Yeah.
Holy shit! What a great movie.
Really? Man, the reviews are stinky on that thing.
Fuck them! It's awesome. That movie is amazing.
How's it doing right now? Let's just take a look. Monuments Men is currently sitting at number 4 in the box office, 34%.
Dude,
you say it's better than that.
An important movie.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
As an artist,
yeah.
These guys went over. I know the war was ending and the German army was pulling out, but like,
in theory,
what they sacrificed to save culture, it's unreal. It's so good. I bought the book too because it's based on a book about the real stuff.
How's John Goodman?
Great.
I love him.
You know who's the shining star in that? Is Bill fucking Murray.
Really?
Yes.
All right. I'm in. I'll watch it. I was not going to, but now maybe I will.
It'll come around. Hey, Scott, should I watch this Mitt documentary?
Which one? Oh, yeah, you totally should, dude. You totally should watch Mitt. People are going to think that if you're total, like, full-on liberal and you don't want to see anything Republicans do, you're missing out on an opportunity to see two things. One, expand your mind to see people outside of the light of pure politics, number one. And number two, just the freaking rat race that is politics and running for office. It is insane. I loved that documentary.
All right, I'll check it out. Yes. All right.
Even
Rabbit.
the most ardent,
you might be right.
The most ardent liberal left-leaning friends of will have just done nothing but rave about that. It's really, really interesting. Really good.
Oh, he's hiding in the stove, eh?
Yeah. You should totally check it out. Yeah, oh yeah. Barely.
All right, Rabbit, where is he? Oh, he's not in the stove. Oh, he's hiding in the stove, eh?
Dude, that's a throwback for me.
If he was hiding in the stove, would I turn the gas on? You might, Rabbit. You might.
Well, that leads us straight into emails, thank goodness. We got one here from Justin R. Wrote in saying, hey guys, I just recently started listening to the show and I decided to start at the beginning and catch up. When I got to episode 2, you guys were talking about how it isn't very realistic for Hawkeye and Green Arrow to survive so long using bows against people with guns. This made me think of a man I learned about in history class in high school who fought in World War II using only a longbow, claymores, grenades, and bagpipes. Here is a few links with information about it. Anyway, sent these links to this Jack Churchill guy. So I did some hunting around. Really interesting dude, this guy.
Really?
And he's right. He fought hard and long with a longbow and did it during a war where people were shooting at him, and that guy persevered. It's pretty insane. Totally worth reading. We'll put some of these links in the show notes because it
sounds like a guy who goes through playing WoW as a pacifist.
Kind of, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like the panda guy that did that, never picked a side till level 80 or whatever, and didn't kill anyone getting there. It's crazy.
Wow.
Totally worth checking out. It's very interesting. There are so many little stories about World War II you hardly ever hear, and this is definitely one of them. One more from Renee Rugholm from Denmark. I'm sure that's wrong. Rugholm. I'm sure it's like Rugholmen or something else. Something very IKEA. Does Marvel have a female superhero that can support a standalone movie? I mean, DC.
Yes, they do.
Well, they do now. I mean, DC have women like Wonder Woman, and everyone know. I think is some English stuff going on here. But by that, I again refers to my very narrow knowledge of the comic world, but I've even heard of Wonder Woman. I have a hard time coming up with a female character that is not one of the X-Men. Example, is there a heroine that Marvel could make an A-list movie if they did with Iron Man? Well, the answer is Black Widow, I guess, because that's what they're doing.
That's what they are doing.
Any one of them. Pick one.
Well, yeah, pick another one. Who could stand alone?
She-Hulk.
Sure. Yes. Really?
Look, it all comes down to this, because here's what's going to happen. Think about it this way.
All right.
Can you write a movie with a female lead in it? Yes.
Yes.
You can. It works. Worked with the Hunger Games. All right. All Marvel and Disney has to say is, that Hunger Games thing is doing really good. Do we have anything Hunger Gamies in the Marvel universe? Yeah, there's another Hawkeye that's a girl. All right. Fucking get working. Mm-hmm. So as long as you have a good script that's a lot of fun, Here's how it works. To answer this guy's email, take any male superhero script that's good, and then make the main character a girl.
And
the end.
You're good. Yep.
That's all you got to do.
That's a good point.
And they'll make a Black Widow movie soon.
Yeah, it's already being made, right?
I guess.
Yep, they're working on it.
Yep.
It'll rock.
Of course it will. It'll be fine. All right. That's it. That's emails. Thank you guys for those. comicdorks@gmail.com is the email address. Send in your comments, your thoughts, your recommendations, books you have questions about. We're happy to answer it and talk about it right here on the show. That will do it for us. Before we get out of here, let's give everybody a chance to pimp any other projects they have going. Steven Schleicher, let's start with you.
Majorspoilers.com is the place where you want to go for all sorts of things, including podcasts and reviews and news and other things that that you'll find interesting. You can follow us on Twitter @MajorSpoilers.
It's a veritable Thanksgiving table full of edible delights. Scott
and sometimes
Kurtz,
with the uncomfortable family fighting.
of course, always. Yeah, you got to have that. Scott Kurtz, what's going on? Table Titans is fantastic right now. What else?
Why, thank you. Just PvP, PvPOnline.com and TableTitans.com are my two big properties right now. So check them out. Stay tuned. We're going to have book news soon with Table Titans. And we're really excited.
Very cool. Mr. Mark Spagnolo, what are you doing?
The Wood Whisperer, woodworking. You don't like woodworking? Piss off.
Take
wow. All right.
Yeah. I do like it, it turns out. So I'm
nice and succinct.
I'm not good at it, but when I watch what you do, I feel a little bit better about it.
You don't have to be good. You just cut some stuff and glue it back together, and you're just like me.
Yeah. When the zombies rise up, we're all going to Arizona because Mark will build some sort of fort.
I will build you a fine chair to sit in.
Okay. That's what I want in my future of apocalypticness. For me, just go to frogpants.com. There's plenty going on over there, all kinds of projects, new stuff happening. There's new t-shirts up that are the Frog Pants University t-shirts, the FU t-shirts. You can get those now. Linked right over there at frogpants.com. You can find us on the web at comicdorks.com. All our archives are there. You can email us again, comicdorks@gmail.com. On Twitter @comicdorks. And for more shows just like this, frogpants.com. That's going to do it for us. We'll see you guys next time.
Dude, they got to make a movie out of this World War II guy.
Yeah,
I'm looking
right?
at this page. He captured 42 German prisoners, captured a mortar post using only a sword, taking one guard as a human shield, and then creeping between sentry posts and forcing the soldiers to surrender.
I don't know how there isn't one already.
Right?
Unless there's some dispute as to how real the story is or something. I can't figure it out because there have been plenty of lesser dumb movies based on other World War II things. They could totally do this.
Are you still broadcasting?
I am.
Can you cut it off?
I can. Hold on.
Okay.
Hold on to your butts.
Bye, chat room.
See you, chat.
See ya.